Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into something, well, frankly fascinating, that might just change how you think about software. Forever. When you picture software being built, what comes to mind? Maybe meticulous lines of code, painstakingly typed out.
Or, those genius programmers locked away, deep in focus.
Exactly. Well, get ready, because there's a surprising new reality taking shape.
Yeah, and that reality is being really transformed by something called vibe coding. Now, I know it sounds super informal almost, whimsical.
Vibe coding.
But it's actually becoming quite formalized. It's even in dictionaries now. And it's fundamentally reshaping how whole industries create software. Think finance, manufacturing, you name it.
Okay, that sounds like a massive shift. So our mission today is to really unpack this. What is vibe coding really?
Yeah.
How is AI not just helping, but actually reshaping it? What are the upsides, the benefits for businesses, maybe even for people who aren't coders?
And the downsides, too, the challenges. We have to cover those.
Absolutely. The critical challenges. We'll trace its, surprisingly fast evolution and talk about what it really means for the future of work, for innovation.
Indeed. It's a huge shift. And to really get it, I think we need to look at where it came from. Its origins are quite interesting.
Okay, let's start there then. What was vibe coding, sort of originally, before AI really exploded onto the scene?
Well, intuitive vibe coding, as some called it, was this really flexible, experimental style.
Yeah.
Programmers would prioritize momentum, maybe instinct, just creative flow, almost. Feeling their way through a problem rather than sticking to rigid plans.
Right, like jazz improvisation versus classical composition.
That's a great analogy, actually, yeah. It was perfect for maybe solo projects, quick prototypes, just getting ideas out fast.
And this often led to what some people called magic code that worked maybe brilliantly, but wasn't always super clear logically.
Exactly. That magic code could be amazing for speed, but yeah, maybe you lost a bit of confidence in it because you couldn't always trace back every single decision logically. But then came the really big shift. Early 2025, with these large language models, LLMs, that's where AI-assisted vibe coding really blasted off, and Andrej Karpathy popularized the term.
Ah, Karpathy. His vision was pretty radical, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Fully giving into the vibes, embracing exponentials, and forgetting that the code even exists.
Yeah, quite provocative. He's talking about a human developer and an LLM working together, like a pair programming duo.
But conversing mostly in natural language, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Which ties right back to his statement from 2023 that the hottest new programming language is English.
Which seemed kind of out there then, but now...
Now it's looking very real. And what's striking is just how fast vibe coding went from being this casual term on Twitter and Reddit to actually being included in the Merriam-Webster dictionary as slang and trending in just 1 month.
1 month, wow.
Just shows the transformative power of these LLMs. It's not just about new tools, it's a whole new way of interacting, a new paradigm, really.
But this speed, this acceptance of AI-generated code, it brings us to a trade-off, doesn't it? This black box dilemma people talk about.
That's a critical point. In this AI-assisted vibe coding, developers, users, they're often willing to just accept the code the AI spits out, maybe without fully understanding every line.
Which is so different from traditional software engineering where you're expected to understand everything, right?
Exactly. And that black box nature, it can seriously amplify the risks of that magic code we mentioned.
How so?
Well, if you lose insight into the logic the AI used, it makes things like long-term maintenance, debugging, security, even just accountability much, much harder, especially in big, complex enterprise systems.
So speed now versus potential headaches later.
That's the balancing act. It's a trade-off between immediate velocity and potential future technical debt.
Okay, so you mentioned this magic code again. How does the AI actually do that? What's going on under the hood? Is it really magic?
Well, it definitely feels like magic sometimes. But at its core, it's advanced algorithms. These AI code generation tools use really sophisticated machine learning, often based on what are called transformer architectures.
Okay, transformers. Like the AI models we hear about for language.
Exactly like those. Think of them as incredibly powerful pattern recognizers. They've learned by reading essentially vast amounts of existing code, millions, billions of lines.
So they learn the patterns, the syntax, the logic.
Pretty much. And then they can generate new code based on that learning. The AI essentially acts as a kind of cognitive multiplier for the developer.
And how do developers actually interact with these tools?
There are a few main ways. You've got the sort of familiar autocomplete, where it suggests code as you type.
Right, like predictive text, but for code.
Kind of, yeah, but much more powerful. Then there's natural language input. You literally just describe what you want in plain English.
Make a button that does X when clicked.
Exactly. And the AI will generate code snippets or even whole functions for you. And finally, there's direct interaction, like chatting with the AI, asking it specific questions, or even getting help fixing bugs.
That sounds like it frees up a lot of mental energy.
It really does. Developers can focus more on the bigger picture, the high-level problem solving, the creative design, the overall architecture. Their skills are shifting, away from just typing code towards defining problems clearly and guiding these AI systems effectively.
It feels like this goes way beyond the older AI tools, and it's different from low-code platforms too, isn't it? Can you clarify that distinction? Because it seems important.
Yeah, that's a great question. It is crucial. So traditional AI assistance was more about augmenting manual coding autocomplete, suggesting a little snippet here and there.
Right.
Then you have low-code, no-code, LCNC. Those are usually visual platforms. Drag and drop interfaces, pre-built blocks. They abstract away the code visually. Great for non-technical folks or speeding up certain workflows. But AI-assisted vibe coding, it's fundamentally generative. It creates novel code, new code from scratch based on your high-level description in natural language. It's not just stitching together pre-built templates like LCNC often does.
So it's actually creating, not just assembling or suggesting.
Precisely. That's the qualitative leap. It allows for much faster ideation, rapid prototyping, building really bespoke things quickly.
This really does sound like, as you put it, an industrial revolution for code. If that's the case, what are the most obvious wins we're seeing right now?
Oh, absolutely. Revolution is the right word. And the number one win, the most immediate impact, is definitely the sheer acceleration of development.
Faster coding.
Much faster. AI automates the routine stuff, the boilerplate. And some studies suggest low-code platforms can cut development time by, 50%, even 90% compared to old methods.
50 to 90%, that's huge.
It is. Ideas can go from just a concept to a working prototype in days, not weeks or months. Days.
Which, for a business, means grabbing market opportunities faster, getting feedback quicker, reacting in almost real time.
Exactly. And that feeds right into productivity boosts and, of course, cost savings. You see reports like GitHub Copilot users finishing tasks 55% faster. Google AI estimates maybe a 30% cut in coding time overall.
Wow.
And it's not just the AI tools. LCNC solutions also slash costs by reducing the need for lots of manual coding, less reliance on super specialized, expensive developers.
So you shift your human talent to higher value stuff.
Precisely. More strategic thinking, creative problem solving. IT becomes less of a cost center and more of an innovation engine.
And you mentioned non-coders earlier. It's democratizing things too, right?
Massively.
Yeah.
AI-assisted vibe coding lowers the barriers significantly, even for amateur programmers. And LCNC platforms, they're empowering this whole wave of citizen developers.
People in marketing, finance, HR, building their own apps.
Exactly. And the projections are wild. Some say citizen developers will soon outnumber professional developers 4-to-1.
4-to-1.
Yeah. It means innovation isn't just coming from the IT department anymore. It can bubble up from anywhere. It fosters this kind of hybrid developer model.
Okay, this all sounds incredibly positive. Faster, cheaper, more accessible. But there's got to be a catch, right? What about the quality of this AI-generated code?
Yes. The catch. And it's a big one. Here's the paradox. While AI can theoretically produce clean code, maybe even adhere to best practices better than a tired human, there's a real danger. Studies show these tools often only get the code right somewhere between, say, 31% and 65% of the time.
It's not great.
Not great at all. And worse, a Stanford study found that programmers using AI assistants actually wrote less secure code.
Less secure. Why?
Overconfidence, basically. They trusted the AI output too much, didn't scrutinize it enough, and ended up introducing subtle bugs, including security flaws, that they missed.
So that initial speed boost could lead to a hidden time bomb of bugs and security risks down the line.
Absolutely. Technical debt and security vulnerabilities. It really highlights that human oversight, robust testing, and strong governance are absolutely non-negotiable no matter how good the AI gets.
Okay, crucial point. But despite that risk, we are seeing real-world adoption, right? Can you give some examples?
Oh, definitely. The benefits are compelling enough that companies are diving in, albeit hopefully cautiously. In manufacturing, you've got a large electronics firm working with Accenture, rolling out GitHub Copilot to thousands of developers, seeing better task completion rates.
Okay.
Companies like Siemens, Adidas, Procter & Gamble are using AI pretty heavily to boost productivity and efficiency in their operations.
And outside manufacturing.
In finance, Revolut used a no-code tool for secure user verification via SMS. JP Morgan has its Koyan system contract intelligence using natural language processing to analyze legal documents way faster than humans could.
Wow.
And beyond that, Amazon uses AI for predictive inventory management. Airbus for predicting maintenance needs on planes. Roche in pharmaceuticals is using AI for drug discovery.
So it's not just about building customer-facing apps, it's transforming internal operations too.
Hugely. That's a key takeaway. AI is becoming a catalyst for optimizing how businesses run internally across almost every sector.
Okay, the benefits are clear, the adoption is happening. But you mentioned risks. Every powerful tech has a dark side, or at least challenges. Let's dig into those minefields. What are the big ones with vibe coding?
Well, building on that quality issue, code quality and maintainability are primary concerns, that magic code we talked about.
Yeah.
The stuff that works but is hard to understand.
Yeah.
When AI generates it, that problem gets amplified. It's like the black box issue on steroids. The code might run, but figuring out why or how to fix it when it breaks or how to modify it later, that becomes incredibly difficult.
So it's not just unclear, it might be overly complex.
Exactly. AI code can sometimes be over-engineered, way more complex than a human would write for the same task. This makes it much harder to understand, harder to maintain, and it piles up that technical debt really quickly.
So that initial speed advantage might get eaten up later by maintenance headaches. There's a hidden compounding cost.
You got it. Which means companies absolutely need new kinds of quality gates, much more rigorous human review specifically for AI-generated code.
And this ties into security too, I imagine.
Directly. AI-produced code just seems to carry a higher likelihood of security flaws. That overconfidence factor we discussed creates this dangerous security blind spot.
Where subtle vulnerabilities slip through because people assume the AI got it right.
Precisely. And another thing, AI often relies heavily on pulling in third-party libraries or components to build the code.
Okay.
If those components have hidden vulnerabilities, the AI might just pull them right into your project without anyone noticing until it's too late. So proactive security training for developers using these tools, plus AI-specific security audits, are becoming essential.
So we're not looking at programmers becoming obsolete then. Kicking back while the AI does everything. Is there a risk of de-skilling?
That's definitely a worry you hear, especially for junior developers starting out. Will they still develop those deep problem-solving skills, that critical thinking, if the AI is always providing the answer?
Right.
But the overwhelming consensus among experts is no, AI won't replace programmers. It will transform their roles. Humans are still absolutely essential for the high-level stuff. The strategic planning, the architectural design, verifying the AI's output, fine-tuning it, understanding the business context. The creative spark.
So it's less about writing lines of code and more about orchestrating the AI.
That's a good way to put it. Orchestrating, guiding, validating, which leads to a massive need for reskilling. Gartner actually projects that 80% of software engineers will need to upskill by 2027.
80%. Focusing on what skills?
Things like prompt engineering, getting the best output from the AI, understanding AI governance, and developing really sharp critical evaluation skills for assessing AI-generated code.
Okay, so skills shift, not disappear.
Yeah.
But what about the ethical side? Privacy, intellectual property, those seem like huge potential pitfalls.
Huge and deeply complex. On ethics, LLMs learn from human data, so they can inadvertently pick up and even amplify human biases present in that data. This can lead to discriminatory outcomes if the AI is used in sensitive areas.
Like hiring or loan applications.
Exactly. Then there's privacy. Big concerns around data locality. Where is your code data being processed? Is it GDPR compliant? How are the LLM providers using client data? Is it being used to train future models?
And could the LLM accidentally memorize and spit out sensitive company information or code?
That's a real risk. And then IP, intellectual property. This is a minefield. If an AI is trained on vast amounts of open source code, maybe even some proprietary code it scraped, it might reproduce code patterns that are actually copyrighted or patented. Companies could find themselves facing major infringement lawsuits completely unexpectedly.
These sound like, as you said, invisible legal landmines. Not technical bugs, but legal threats baked into how the code was made.
Precisely. It requires really proactive legal and compliance involvement, robust data governance, understanding the provenance of the AI models you use.
And it sounds like just throwing these tools at developers isn't enough. You mentioned the central challenge might be organizational.
Absolutely. You can't just drop these powerful tools into an existing workflow and expect magic. Often you see persistent quality issues, maybe resistance from developers who are skeptical or haven't been trained.
Right.
Real success demands clear governance policies from the top. Who approves AI-generated code? What are the documentation standards? Are code reviews mandatory? How do you train people effectively? Studies show teams without proper AI prompts training see productivity gains that are maybe 60% lower.
60% lower. Wow.
Yeah. It requires a real cultural shift, a transformation in how development teams operate, and that needs to be led and supported from senior management.
Okay, so challenges acknowledged. Looking ahead now, what's the market forecast? Is this vibe coding, AI-assisted programming thing really taking off financially?
Oh, without a doubt. We're in what analysts are calling a hypergrowth phase. The market for these generative AI coding assistants is projected to hit maybe close to $100 million by 2030, and the specific code generation segment forecasted for something like a 52% compound annual growth rate, CAGR.
52% growth year on year. That's explosive.
It really is. And remember the low-code, no-code platforms we talked about?
Yeah.
They're exploding too. Gartner predicts 70% of new applications developed by enterprises by 2025 will use LCNC technologies.
70%.
And here's the interesting part. The rise of LCNC, especially AI-powered LCNC, is actually fueling the demand for the generative AI coding assistants. They work together.
The synergy effect. Visual tools and natural language tools converging.
Exactly. It points towards this future of higher levels of abstraction in software creation. And the investment numbers back this up. Global spending on AI is projected to potentially triple in the next 5 years, maybe reaching over $826 billion.
Wow.
And the overall economic impact. AI is expected to drive something like a $15.7 trillion increase in the global economy by 2030. It's a fundamental restructuring of where capital is flowing.
Okay, massive growth. What are the key things pushing this forward, the drivers? And what's holding it back, the inhibitors?
Sure. Key drivers include the relentless demand for more automation and efficiency, continuous improvements in AI capabilities themselves, developers increasingly expecting these kinds of tools.
Right. It becomes the norm.
That LCNC synergy we mentioned, better cloud integration, making these tools accessible, automated bug detection getting smarter, and the costs of training these huge models gradually coming down.
Okay, sounds powerful. What about the brakes, the inhibitors?
Big ones include regulatory scrutiny, especially around IP and data privacy. That's a major uncertainty. Persistent code quality and security concerns haven't gone away.
Overconfidence problem.
Exactly. Worries about over-reliance and potential de-skilling. Ethical concerns around bias, lack of transparency in how some models work the black box issue again, and just the sheer computational power needed to run these things effectively can still be a barrier.
So it's this constant tension, right? Innovation pushing forward, but held in check by the need for responsibility, regulation, and just practical limitations.
That's the dynamic, yes. Innovation balanced by the need for responsible development and deployment.
So pulling this all together, what's the strategic advice for industries, for companies trying to navigate this? How should they approach vibe coding and AI assistance?
Well, first, recognize that roles are changing. Developers need to evolve into those AI orchestrators. We talked about guiding, monitoring, focusing on higher order design. Support that transition with training.
Okay, embrace the role shift.
Second, robust governance is non-negotiable. You need clear policies, clear approval processes, solid documentation standards for AI-generated code. And this needs collaboration across teams, IT, legal, compliance. Don't let it happen in silos.
Makes sense. What else?
Foster a culture of experimentation, but with critical evaluation. Encourage teams to use these tools, learn what works, but don't allow blind acceptance. Build in checkpoints for quality and security. Continuous learning is key.
Experiment, but verify.
Exactly. And finally, make strategic investments. Choose AI-native tools and platforms that offer strong assistance features, integrate well with your existing systems, and have robust security and governance capabilities built in. Don't just chase the cheapest or newest shiny object.
Right. Think long-term infrastructure.
Ultimately, this isn't about AI replacing humans. It's about a really profound redefinition of human roles in creating software. Success really hinges on embracing that transformation strategically, thoughtfully, and responsibly.
A fundamental shift in how we create. So let's leave our listeners with a thought. If, as Karpathy said, the hottest new programming language is English, and AI is truly becoming our coding partner, what new frontiers could you unlock? What creative solutions or complex problems could you tackle, maybe even without writing a single traditional line of code yourself, just by, giving into the vibes and collaborating with an AI assistant? Something to think about.